today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. A big bounce back tonight for the Padres as they beat the Diamondbacks by a final score of 9-4. A lot to do on our postgame coverage. We'll head back to Phoenix, hear from Craig Stammen. We have all the radio highlights for you. Full game recap. As always, our postgame coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. A player with epic SoCal views, a full bar, and poolside bites. Starlight Pool at Jamul Casino Resort is pool season perfected, and day passes are available. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Well, what a difference a day makes. A totally different kind of game here tonight, especially from the offensive side. You know, you wondered, and we wondered pregame, what Padres offense would show up in this game. I mean, yesterday, exceedingly quiet from the offensive standpoint, and tonight it was anything but. The Padres all over Eduardo Rodriguez, who came in with a sub-2.5 ERA, and they were on Rodriguez from the opening at bat. Fernando Tatis Jr. started the game with a double, and quite frankly, Padres didn't look back from there. They score 3 in the first inning, 3 in the second inning, set the tone in this game, pull out to a big lead. And the other huge story in this game, how about Randy Vasquez? Randy, who has had a tough year, Randy, who essentially got pulled from the rotation because of his performance, Randy, who's gone from role to role on this pitching staff this season. I mean, for Randy Vasquez to go out and do what he did in this game, it was just remarkably impressive. Excuse me. Was remarkably impressive for Randy Vasquez in this game. Again, the Padres offense did their part, but Randy going out after they staked him to a 3-0 lead, then a 6-0 lead after 2, it was just, it was marvelous. I mean, Randy was so good tonight. D-backs never had a runner in scoring position, and in this game, Diamondbacks didn't have a runner in scoring position. I don't think, and I'm being serious right now, I don't, in my broadcast, in my baseball career, I don't know that I ever can remember seeing a game that you had one team with 22 at-bats with runners in scoring position. The Padres went 8 for 22 in those opportunities tonight, and the other team having none. I mean, I'm serious. I don't remember ever seeing that kind of crazy discrepancy. 22 at-bats for the Padres with runners in scoring position in this game, and the D-backs had none, and that was in large part due to just stellar work from Randy Vasquez. I mean, he was dominant tonight, and look, I think you had every right to be a little, not a ton, but a little bit concerned about this series heading into tonight's game because of this. You lost last night. You had Eduardo Rodriguez, who's having a great season on the mound for Arizona tonight, and Randy Vasquez, who had been better lately and was really good in relief on Thursday against the Giants. But look, Randy has had a very up and down year. There have been days where Randy has been exceedingly hittable. So you're looking at this pitching matchup going, this may not go great. And it was the total opposite of what the numbers would suggest. Padres were all over Rodriguez, and Randy Vasquez took the early lead and absolutely ran with it. So tip of the cap to Randy, tip of the cap to the Padres offense. They scored early and often in this game, and the Padres even up this series at a game apiece. They do pick up a game on Arizona, so the Padres will end the night one game behind Arizona for that final National League wild card spot. When we return, we'll get into our game recap. A lot of highlights to get to. Plus, we'll go back to Arizona, hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen coming up a little bit later as well. Final score again here tonight, Padres 9 and the Diamondbacks 4 on the Padres Radio Network. Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios on this Tuesday night. Appreciate you joining us as we continue our postgame coverage. Padres win it in Arizona tonight by a final score of 9-4, evening up this four-game series at a game apiece. We'll head back to Chase Field, hear from Craig Stammen in just a bit, but it was a big offensive night for the Pods, no doubt about it. Let's recap it from start to finish.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, D-back left-hander Eduardo Rodriguez came into this game with an ERA under 2.5, but the Padres were all over him early. I mean, all over him. Fernando Tatis Jr. started the game with a leadoff double. A couple batters later, it was Manny Machado.
Rodriguez deals, Machado swings, laces it in the air deep down the left field line. That's going to get down, bounces up against the base of the wall. Fernando scores easily. Machado into second with an RBI double, and the Padres a 1-0 lead here in the first.
Couple batters later, it was Jackson Merrill.
Merrill swings, hits it through the right side. That's a base hit. Machado going to be waved. Carroll does not have a great arm. Here comes the throw to the plate, and he is safe as the ball gets away from McCann. Merrill slides into second base, and the Padres lead it 2-0.
Merrill going to second base, like Jesse said on the RBI single. He was in scoring position for the X-Man.
First pitch swinging, ground ball right back up the middle, into center and a base hit. Waldschmidt charges it. Merrill's on his way home. The throw will be cut, and an RBI single for Xander Bogaerts. It's 3-0.
So the Padres had an early 3-0 lead after the first inning. Let's go to the second. Padres bats went right back to work. Jake Cronenworth hit a leadoff single. Jace Bowen bunted for a single with runners on first and second, one man away. Ketel Marte booted what should have been an inning-ending double play ball. I got to tell you, just a little side note here. The first three innings, as poor of a first defensive 3 innings as I've seen in a long time. I don't know, the Rockies were pretty bad about a week plus ago. I don't know. Diamondbacks didn't play good defense in the first 3 innings. That's my point. That potential inning-ending double play ball, instead an error by Ketel Marte, that loaded the bases. A costly error indeed, because next up was Manny.
And Machado swings, loops it into shallow right field. That's going to get down. Carroll's got to play it on one hop. Bowen has scored. Fernando's right behind him. The throw and the tag, not in time. A 2-run bloop single for Manny Machado, and it's 5-0.
Couple batters later, it was Jackson Merrill again.
Merrill hits it through the right side, base hit. Rengifo trots home. Machado wheels around to third base, and on the 10th pitch of the at-bat, Jackson Merrill makes it 6-0.
So the Padres had a 6-0 lead after 2 innings. Padres gave Randy Vasquez a big lead, and my goodness, did he run with it. Vasquez was terrific in this game. In fact, so terrific that there isn't a whole lot to tell you about regarding his outing. He didn't strike out a ton. Randy only striking out 1 batter in the outing, but he only gave up 2 hits, a couple of singles, and 6 shutout innings. The rest of it was just weak contacts and good pitching by Randy. D-backs never even had a runner on second base against them. After the Padres got another run on a Manny Machado RBI single in the 6th inning, they struck again in the top of the 7th. Runners on base for Freddie Fermin.
As Fermin lifts this one in the air to shallow left center field, that's going to get down. It's going to bounce and get cut off by Waldschmidt, but not before Merrill comes in to score. Fermin into second base with an RBI double. His first hit of the day makes it 8-0.
So the Padres led 8-0 going bottom 7. That's when Arizona made a little bit of noise. German Marquez came in. He gave up a 2-run homer to Nolan Arenado. That made it 8-2. Later in the inning, a runner on base for James McCann.
0-1 pitch, McCann in the air, deep to left field. Workman going back. This one gonna go. Second 2-run homer of the inning for the Diamondbacks. All of a sudden, it's 8-4.
So the Padres had an 8-4 lead after 7. Bradley Rodriguez settled things down with a scoreless bottom of the 8th inning. Top of the 9th inning, Padres struck again, couple on base for Mr. Jake Cronenworth.
And Jake swings, hits it on the ground through the right side, and a base hit. Song rounding third on his way. Carroll's throw will go to third, and not in time. Fermin goes first to third on the RBI single, and the Padres re-extend the lead 9-4 on Cronenworth's third hit of the night.
Griffin Canning, a scoreless bottom half of the ninth inning, and that was that here tonight. Final score, Padres 9 and the Diamondbacks 4. The Padres with 9 runs on 16 hits. No errors in this game. Arizona 4 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error. Padres played really good defense in this game as well. Jake Cronenworth, in particular, made some fine defensive plays at second base. In this one, the Padres improved to 59 and 55. Arizona drops to 60 and 54. Padres pick up a game on the Diamondbacks in the wild card standings, so they now trail Arizona by 1 game in the wild card standings. They also even up the season series at 4-4 against Arizona, which is very important right now when you consider this big 4-game set. Winning pitcher here tonight, Randy Vasquez, who improved to 7-6, and the losing pitcher, Eduardo Rodriguez, who dropped to 10-4. And like I said earlier, sort of an unbelievable stat from this game. The Padres went 8 for 22 with runners in scoring position, a season high of at-bats with runners in scoring position, even more than that 19-run game they had in Kansas City. They only had 9 runs today, but again, 22 at-bats with runners in scoring position. The Diamondbacks never had an at-bat with a runner in scoring position in this game. When do you see that kind of discrepancy? 22 ABs with RASP for the Padres, none for Arizona. One other little nugget here that I think is fairly remarkable before we go to break. How about this? Randy Vasquez tonight with his 6 scoreless innings. He became the first pitcher, Padres pitcher, not named Michael King to throw 6 innings in a start since June 3rd. 2 months. How about that? Randy getting the start tonight, and he could not have been better. Just excellent here tonight, and a well-deserved W for Randy Vasquez. When we come back, we'll go to Arizona, hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen. Much more to do as we wrap this one up. Again, the final tonight, Padres 9 and the Diamondbacks 4 on the Padres Radio Network. Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we continue to wrap this one up. Final score here tonight, Padres 9 and the Diamondbacks 4. We'll hear from Craig Stammen in Arizona in just a moment, so stay tuned for that. Obviously, Randy Vasquez, splendid in this game. 6 scoreless innings, 2 hits given up. He was in command. What a nice outing for Randy, really, when you consider his season and the up and down nature of his season. Getting a nice opportunity here tonight on the short notice to get a start. And you kind of wondered if this would be, more of a bullpen game, and what we've seen with the Padres piecing this thing together pitching-wise on so many nights. But Randy was so good that it ended up being just a typical start for Randy Vasquez. 6 scoreless innings. And like I said before the break, the amazing thing about it, he is the first Padres pitcher, aside from Michael King, to go 6 innings in a start in 2 months. So credit to Randy in a big game tonight against a really good starting pitcher on the other side of things. He was splendid in this game. Speaking of the other pitcher tonight, Eduardo Rodriguez, look, it was kind of stunning, I thought. Well, in one way it wasn't, because the Padres have seen Eduardo Rodriguez really well. They roughed him up twice last year, and I guess the Padres have his number, because this guy's been really good. I mean, he came in with a sub-2.5 ERA. He had been on a great run, really going back to the middle of May, and you did not know it watching him tonight. I mean, the Padres were on him, and we spoke last night after the game on deadline day. But remember, if you heard my opening segment of the postgame yesterday, I talked about reminders that, kind of came out of yesterday's game. And I thought one of the key ones was the Padres are going to have to hit. This is great that they've bolstered the rotation, that they've got reinforcements on the way, all good things. But it ain't going to mean a whole lot if they don't hit. They're going to have to hit. This offense cannot revert to being anything like it was over the first 2.5 months of the season. They've been a totally different unit, and yesterday they ran into a guy in Brandon Pfaadt who had been throwing the ball really well and has had success against the Padres before. Tonight, on the flip side, super encouraging to see the Padres against a good starting pitcher that they do seem to see well, to see them go out there and just rough them up. 3 runs in the first inning, 3 runs in the second, and you had a big lead. And you kind of cruised, aside from the little flurry from the Diamondbacks in the 7th inning with the 2 home runs. You kind of cruised to a win here tonight because your offense put you in a position to do that. And you'll remember last night, top 4 in the order, 0 for 15. We said that too. Can't happen a lot. It can happen every once in a blue moon. Can't happen a lot if the Padres, are going where they want to go. You look at the difference here tonight. Fernando had a base hit, 2 runs scored, leadoff double. Big double in this game to set the tone. Luis Rengifo out of the number 2 spot had a base hit, 2 runs scored. Then you had Manny with 3 hits, 4 RBIs in this game. Ty France all of a sudden cooling off a little bit. He was 0 for 5. But beyond that, Merrill 3 hits, 2 RBIs. You had Freddie Fermin with 2 hits and an RBI. You had Jake Cronenworth, who had a great game both at the plate and defensively, 3 hits and an RBI. Up and down the lineup, guys with 3-hit games, Manny and Merrill and Cronenworth, and it was just a totally different offensive game against a really, really good starting pitcher in Eduardo Rodriguez. And look, had the Padres come out and not had a good offensive night and they lost this game, I'm not sitting here telling you the season's over. I'm not saying that at all. But wouldn't you say to yourself, is this offense kind of reverting back to some kind of offense that we saw earlier in the year? And now they're facing some better starting pitching. So we're going to see how the rest of this series plays out. A lot of baseball left to play. We've got, about 2 months left of baseball here to play when it's all said and done. But it was good to see the Padres offense respond here tonight, and against the guy who's having a real good year in Eduardo Rodriguez. They hit him, and they hit him hard, and made him pay, and, it cost the D-backs the game. They fell behind 6-0 early. Padres never looked back. With all that in mind, let's go back to Chase Field in Phoenix and hear some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
How'd you think the way Randy stepped up tonight?
Yeah, Randy pitched great. We've been using him in a little bit of a swing role, different kind of role. We needed him to start tonight, and we got out to a big lead, and he kind of went with it. Threw a bunch of strikes. I think on the board it said he was 80% first pitch strikes. So it makes an old pitcher real happy.
As you guys, you've still been looking for one of these guys to maybe get back in the rotation, and it feels like he's been trending toward that. How did this help him tonight?
Yeah, I think so. I think, one, he wants to prove that he deserves to be in the rotation. I think Randy wants to start. And then I think we've seen from some of the other guys how they fit into our pitching staff a little bit better instead of maybe just in the starting role, but being able to mix and match with them. So Randy's, been very determined, to put his best foot forward in this situation, and he has. He's pitched a couple really good games for us here lately, and got us a couple wins.
You guys were all over Rodriguez the first couple innings. What do you like about the offense, the at-bats?
Yeah, it was great. But you know what? We brought energy in the dugout today. There was just a different energy, a little bit more energy. The guys brought it today against a really good pitcher, one of the guys that's been pitching the best in the National League. So I liked the energy we had, and then the at-bats were all locked in from the beginning.
I think it kind of goes without saying, but Jackson and Manning being the RBI threats that they've been for the last 2 months, how has that changed things?
Yeah, it's changed it immensely. We went from not a great offense to one of the best. So, we talked about that for a really long time this year, how we can get Manny and Jackson going and some of the other guys around him and keep them hot too and get them going too. Tatis a big part of that. Now they're all kind of clicking a little bit. Ty France has kept us afloat for a long time. Now it's time for us to pick him up a little bit.
How was Xander?
Xander's good. Yeah, he just came out as precaution. It was hit on the similar spot as last year, but x-rays were negative, and he's ready to play tomorrow.
Do you take anything out of that outing by Herman?
One, he came back on early rest. Last time he threw was 5 innings. And to come back on early rest, we want to see what some of these guys can do on early rest and see if they can bounce back and throw an inning for us on what would maybe be like a bullpen day. And we're finding out that it's not as easy as we may think, and to have your best stuff. His velocity looked good. Breaking ball was okay, but, sometimes you lack that finish when you come back a little earlier. But, glad he was able to take the ball, and we had a big enough lead that we could kind of experiment with that. But it wasn't his best inning that he's had, but he's given us a ton of innings, here previously that's really helped us win.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen earlier tonight after this 9-4 win for the Padres in Arizona. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios. Our postgame coverage is always brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. Just to touch on the Randy part of this a little bit more, and look, German Marquez was not great tonight. I think that's a kind of an interesting point from Craig that he's coming back on short rest and. Look, I'm not making an excuse here for German, but they are asking him to do something he has never done in his career. This guy's been a starter his whole career, and right now they're asking him to A, come out of the bullpen, and B, then come back on shorter amounts of rest and be a reliever, essentially. It's tough. So, again, they had a big lead, 100%. That's a spot for German, for them to do that with him when you're leading a game 8-0. Yeah, okay. Guess what? You had wiggle room for him to give up a couple of 2-run home runs. That's why he's out there if he's going to struggle. So it is going to be interesting, though, in 2 things here on the pitching. Number 1, it's going to be interesting, A, to see when Robbie Ray is added to this roster. And I would think that would have to be tomorrow when he shows up. What are they going to do? Somebody's got to get out of the pitching staff. Somebody's got to leave. So that's going to be interesting to see how the Padres maneuver that. They're going to have to, either option somebody down or DFA somebody, and we're going to see. So just keep that in mind with the Robbie Ray part of it. Padres, added Mize and Workman to the roster today. Sears and Duran were sent down. So, JP Sears has been up and down, but there's been good for JP. In this last few weeks, it's tough for JP. He's got to go back down to AAA now. Keep in mind, they're going to have to make a similar type move to make room for Robbie Ray. Here's the interesting thing, and this is the way I lean right now based on the personnel and based on the way guys are pitching. I'll tell you what, if the Padres, and I think they're going to, If the Padres decide within the next week that they're going back to a rotation, a regular rotation, which they're essentially going to do, because you're going to have King, you're going to have Buehler, you're going to have Mize, and you're going to have Ray. That's 4 days out of 5. With the way Randy's thrown, he threw the 4 2/3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen the other night. 6 scoreless innings today where he clearly looked different. He looked like a much better pitcher. Couldn't you imagine the Padres just slotting Randy back into that 5th starter spot? Whatever you want to call him, 4th starter, 5th spotter, doesn't matter. Slot him back into the rotation. That would seem to make sense to me. So, look, credit to Randy. He may have pitched himself back into a starting role again with the way he's pitched. And tonight, to me, was remarkably impressive. That's a good Diamondback offense. He got an early lead. He protected it. Didn't give up an extra base hit. He was in command. Didn't get strikeouts, but pitched well. And you're not asking Randy to go out and be perfect, but tonight he was excellent. So credit to Randy. That's a big job he did tonight. Really, really, really big job. I mean, think about it this way. You put up those runs against Rodriguez. Let's say Randy goes out there and he coughs it back up in the 1st inning or gives up a big number in the 2nd, and all of a sudden now you're in a back and forth battle and, you're going to your bullpen. I mean, that could have gone totally sideways if Randy is not the guy he is tonight, and he was stellar. So good for Randy Vasquez. Great outing, 6 shutout innings, and a well-deserved win. When we return, we'll get into our daily awards. If you want to get a phone call in, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call, 833-288-0973. The phone number will have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming your way a little bit later as well. Final score here tonight, Padres 9 and Arizona 4 on the Padres Radio Network. Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score here tonight, Padres 9 and the D-backs 4. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open. Day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Still a lot to do on our post-game coverage. If you want to get a phone call in, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call, again, 833-288-0973. The phone number, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and still much more to come. But first, let's tell you about tonight's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Relief pitcher of the game here tonight, we'll give it to Bradley Rodriguez. Not just because Bradley had a scoreless inning in this game. That was great, 1-2-3 inning in the eighth. But he settled it down. He settled the game down because the Padres had an 8-0 lead. German Marquez has a really tough seventh inning, gives up a pair of 2-run home runs. Now he gets out of it, keeps it 8-4. And then, hey, you got a little momentum if you're the Diamondbacks. Bradley comes out. And Bradley Rodriguez, by the way, in that eighth inning, it was not an easy part of the order. It was 2-3-4. Perdomo, Barossa, and Marte. Barossa, who had pinch hit for Kepler earlier. And Bradley Rodriguez comes out and puts together a 1-2-3 inning and just calmed things down a little bit, right? It was 8-0, then it's 8-4. Hey, Diamondbacks get a couple runners on, load the bases, then you got the tying run at the plate. Things could start going sideways pretty quickly. So for Bradley to face the heart of the order, the 2-3-4 hitters at least, and settle it down, put together a really nice, quick, easy 1-2-3 inning, I just felt like it calmed the game down from a Padre perspective. Great job tonight by Bradley Rodriguez. Let's take a look at the Padres' heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the heart of the order. Presented by Palomar Health Medical Group.
Heart of the order here tonight. The 3-4-5 hitters, Manny, France, and Merrill. Manny Machado, really nice night. 3 hits and 4 RBIs for Manny, including a double. Ty France, quiet night, 0 for 5 tonight. Jackson Merrill, 3 hits in this game with a couple of RBIs and a couple of runs scored. So, all in all, heart of the order here tonight. 3 hits apiece for Manny and Merrill. They had a combined 6 RBIs. So, Manny and Merrill driving in 6 out of the 9 runs tonight for the Padres. Anytime they drive in 6 combined, there's a pretty good chance the Padres are going to win. And as we know, those two guys have been so good, so much better in the last month and a half or so than what the first 2.5 months were from a run-producing standpoint, certainly. So they continue to swing it. Good to see the Padres offense bounce back here tonight. All right, before we take a break, get to the out-of-town scoreboard, all that good stuff, let's squeeze in a phone call or two, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, phone number to call. Let's go to the phones. It's Aiden in Escondido calling in. Aiden, you're on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome in.
Hey, Sam. How you doing?
Doing well.
I just wanted to ask you, I don't know what you thought about Randy Vasquez. I know he was pulled after 6 full innings. He had 80 pitches. Personally, I thought he could have gone out for another. I know he's been dealing with that injury that he had at the start of July at Los Angeles. But I think just with the Padres and where they're at, especially with the bullpen having to pitch a lot this previous series against the Giants, I think Vasquez only on 80 pitches. He looked really efficient tonight. I thought he could have gone one more inning. Just wanted to know your thoughts about that.
Yeah, Aiden, look, it's a fair question. I'll tell you why he didn't go deeper in this game. I mean, I'm going to read you the pitch counts for Randy since the start of July. 50, 32, 19, 37, 65. I mean, he hasn't thrown more than 65 pitches, and he's been above 50 pitches one time in the last month. I mean, keep in mind, they've been, asking Randy to fill all kinds of roles. He started twice in July. He came out of the bullpen 3 times in July. They had him starting here today. Aiden, I don't think he's in a position right now, for as good as he was tonight, I don't think he's in a position right now where he's going out and throwing 90, 100 pitches. I think 80 was probably about the max. And here's the other thing, to be honest with you. You got an 8-0 lead. You shouldn't have to use your high leverage guys. To be honest with you, the fact that they had to use Bradley was like the only negative of this game. This is the kind of game we're hoping you didn't have to use Bradley. I'm sure Craig Stammen wanted German Marquez to finish this game. I bet he wanted German to go 3 innings. And you have Randy for 6, German for 3, done. But he had to use Rodriguez, and I don't blame him because look, with the way Marquez looked in that 7th inning, when it became just a 4-run game, and you've got 2, 3, 4 coming up in the D-back lineup, you can't put Marquez back out, right? If Craig had put German back out there and the Diamondbacks continue to hit him, what are you saying at home? You're saying, what are we doing? You got to get him. It's time. You can't bring him back out. These games are too important. So I'm sure Craig wanted German to finish that game and go 3 innings. Going back to Randy, and I didn't finish the point, I think part of it too, I don't think he was throwing more than the 80 tonight. I don't think that would be smart because of what his pitch count has been. But also, don't you want Randy to just have a really, really, really great outing, 6 shutout innings, he gave up 2 singles. Get him out of there. Confidence. Build on it. Get him out of there. He's done. You have an 8-0 lead. It's enough. So I get what you're saying, Aiden. But hypothetically, what could have happened in this game, what I think the Padres wanted to happen in this game, is German to go out there and throw 3 innings and finish the game. I didn't love that they had to use Bradley either. And look, Bradley, I feel like a lot of us, I feel like we still put him in just like the slightly lower tier than Miller, Morahone, Estrada, Adam. We put him in the Yuki, Wandy, Bradley group. And I think that's probably fair, but make no mistake about it, and all the guys I named are very important to this bullpen, but Bradley is really important, and he's had a great, great year. So I was hoping they wouldn't have to use Bradley either, to be honest with you, but unfortunately, German, with the way that 7th inning went, they had to go get him. So is what it is here tonight. All right, we'll step aside. When we come back, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. May squeeze in another phone call or 2 before we go. And we'll wrap things up, get you ready for tomorrow's game. 3rd game of this 4-game series coming up in Arizona. Again, final score here tonight, Padres 9 and the D-backs 4 on the Padres Radio Network. Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score here tonight, the Padres 9 and the D-backs 4. As we wrap this one up, we'll have our play of the game in a moment. Get you ready for the third game of this 4-game series coming up tomorrow. But right now, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Well, everything has gone final across the major leagues tonight. 15 games. Everybody in action today. Orioles beating the Angels 3-1 in Baltimore. Tyler O'Neill a home run in that game for the O's. Cade Povich threw 6 scoreless innings in that one for Baltimore. Mets beat the Guardians 6-2 in Cleveland. Luis Torrens hit a 3-run home run in that game for the Mets. Reds beat the A's 5-4 in Cincinnati. Reds scored the go-ahead run on a walk in the 8th inning. It was a bases-loaded walk that gave Cincinnati a 5-4 lead, and they go on to win by that final score. Phillies beat the Nationals 5-0 in Philadelphia. Jesus Luzardo threw 8 scoreless innings in that game. It was the debut for Luis Arraez in that game in the Philly Red. He had 2 hits and 2 RBIs in that one in the Phillies' 5-0 win. Yankees beat the Cardinals 2-0 in New York. George Lombard Jr., very, very highly touted prospect, made his major league debut. And what do you know it? Hit a home run for his first major league hit. That made it a 2-0 game. Ryan Weathers, the former Padre, threw 6 shutout innings for the win in that one for the Yankees. Red Sox beat the White Sox 14-2 at Fenway Park. Caleb Durbin hit a grand slam in that game. Wilyer Abreu hit 2 home runs in that one for the Red Sox. Braves beat the Marlins 4-2 in Atlanta. Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley home runs in that game. Royals beat the Twins 8-2 in Kansas City. Josh Bell a home run in that one for KC. Brewers beat the Pirates 4-2 in Milwaukee. Jackson Chourio, Andrew Vaughn, home runs in that game for Milwaukee. Cubs spoiled the Dodger debut of Tarek Skubal. Cubs getting home runs from Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner in that game. Nico Horner also hit a go-ahead single in the bottom half of the 8th inning in that one. Taking a look at what Skubal did in that game. 6 innings, 2 earned runs given up, 4 hits. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I suppose for him and the Dodgers lose their 5th consecutive game as the Cubs win it 5-1. Rangers beat the Giants 5-4 in Texas. Other finals, Astros beat the Blue Jays 7-2 in Houston. Taylor Trammell, his 6th home run of the season, is a 3-run home run in the 5th in that one. Rays beat the Rockies 9-7 in Colorado. Liam Hicks, who the Rays acquired at the trade deadline, hit a home run in that game. In fact, it was a grand slam for Tampa Bay's Liam Hicks. Tigers beat the Mariners 8-0 in Seattle. Riley Green, Gleyber Torres, and Dylan Dingler all went deep in that one. Dingler with his 24th home run of the year. Troy Melton threw 7 scoreless innings in that game as well for Detroit. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Tuesday. Final score, Padres 9 and the D-backs 4 in Arizona. Let's hear tonight's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
And Machado swings, loops it into shallow right field. That's going to get down. Carroll's got to play it on one hop. Bowen has scored. Fernando's right behind him. The throw and the tag, not in time. A 2-run bloop single for Manny Machado, and it's 5-0.
Manny Machado's 2-run single in the second. That is tonight's play of the game. Felt like that was the biggest hit of the game. The Padres Had a lot of them. They had 8 hits in the first 2 innings, 6 runs on 8 hits. But I'll tell you why that 2-run base hit from Manny felt like the biggest. Well, it was because, moments before that, Rengifo had reached on what should have been an inning-ending double play. Ketel Marte booted it. Should have been a 4-6-3 double play to end the inning. Was tailor-made. And instead, the Padres had the bases loaded with 1 out. Manny came up. Manny got 2 strikes on him, but then found a way to muscle one into right field. And instead of it just being 3-0, it was 5-0. And let's say Marte makes that play and, Rodriguez gets out of the inning. I mean, maybe you're looking at a different game, right? I mean, there's a huge difference between a 3-0 game and a 5-0 game and then a 6-0 game. The fact that the Padres took advantage of the shaky defense by the Diamondbacks and more specifically Marte in that spot. And by the way, wasn't the only shaky defense in that inning. I said a little bit earlier during our game recap, you'd be hard-pressed to find a shakier defensive first 3 innings of a game than what the Diamondbacks put together. Even in that inning, there was a single by Cronenworth to lead off the inning. Then Jace Bowen laid down a bunt, and you had the first baseman, Tim Tawa, evacuate his area at first base to go pick up the ball when there was no way that Rodriguez or the second baseman were ever going to get over to cover. I have no idea what he was doing. He should have stayed at first base. Let somebody else get it. You got to go cover first. Nobody's going to be there. So that was a rough play. And then you had, to be honest with you, you could argue one of the biggest moments of this game, I think for sure, was Marte booting that potential inning-ending double play. And that's why the Manny 2-run hit is our play of the game. Then later in the inning, Jackson Merrill, another RBI single. And boom, just like that, went from a 3-0 game to a 6-0 game. All right, taking a look ahead to tomorrow. It'll be a 6:40 p.m. first pitch tomorrow. 5:40 p.m. pregame show start time tomorrow. Pitching matchup tomorrow. It's going to be a good one. On the mound for the Padres, it is right-hander Casey Mize. After the trade on Monday, he will make his Padres debut. Going to be very exciting to see Casey Mize in the brown and gold. On the mound for the Diamondbacks, it'll be left-hander Mitch Bratt. So Casey Mize will make his Padre debut tomorrow. Left-hander, young left-hander, just 23 years old, Mitch Bratt on the mound for Arizona. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the free Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well. Once again, the final totals here tonight for the Padres. 9 runs on 16 hits. No errors. They left on 10. Padres had 22 at-bats in this game with runners in scoring position. Diamondbacks, 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. They left on 3. The Diamondbacks had no at-bats with runners in scoring position in this game. Randy Vasquez, the winning pitcher tonight, he's now 7-6. Eduardo Rodriguez, the loser, he's now 10-4. Time of game here tonight in Arizona was 2 hours and 46 minutes. And the crowd at Chase Field tonight in Phoenix, 20,839. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 6:40. Pregame coverage begins at 5:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Kyle Ovenshire, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from inside our San Diego studios. Again, the final score here tonight, the San Diego Padres 9 and the Arizona Diamondbacks 4, as the Padres pull within 1 game of Arizona in the NL wildcard standings. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.